welcome to the Morning Connection. We're coming to you live from the Best 100 FM studios in Kingston, Jamaica. This is your host, Minette Lawrence, and of course, your co-host is Pastor Percival Palmer. Good morning and welcome to those who have joined us on air and online. Already, I get my UK greetings.
Good.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection, coming to you live from the Best 100 FM studios in Kingston, Jamaica. This is your host, Minette Lawrence, and your co host this morning, as always, is Pastor Percival Palmer. The
Speak.
anniversary was celebrated on the weekend.
Um. Yesterday was my wedding anniversary, and that was all of 29 years.
So you know you're in your 30th year as of
Yes,
this
as
morning.
of this morning, I'm in my 30th year, and
Hmm.
it was good.
Yes, that
Greetings
wedding
from
can
all over the
all over the
greetings
world.
from all over. Greetings from yard. Yes, man, and she loved it. Yes, she says, I won't. I tell you after here what she said. But today is a very significant day. I want to send a big shout out to my mom, who celebrates all of 87 years of.
It's today. It's
It's
actually
today,
today.
actually
Ah,
today, and we had a wonderful time. Happy birthday to
happy
Miss Hazel,
birthday, Miss
Miss
Hazel.
Blossom,
How
all
many
different
names she have?
Miss.
Hazel
eh,
blossom. That could be one, as
no, Miss
hazel is a
Hazel,
flower and it
Miss
blossoms.
Hazel, Miss B,
Miss B.
Blossom, and it was good for us as a family. We really celebrate. And
So there was a big party yesterday too.
no, there's a party on Saturday. And
Saturday to come.
no, Saturday,
Saturday
no,
gone.
Saturday gone. So
Oh,
we had
okay.
4 generations of family there, and as I was recounting, I was telling you about the grandchildren because they're
Hmm.
actually a good representation of her
What we
grandchildren.
got to 38,
34,
34. Oh,
34
oh.
grandchildren.
Mm,
But
yeah.
it was a good time. It was a good time. We really enjoyed it, and um, the grandchildren gave tributes, and the
In
sons
dance,
and the
was there a
daughter.
dance?
No, there wasn't any dance. She was
Then
busy.
you
And
didn't.
she never danced this time. But you see, um, one of the fascinating things for me is that my daughter will just ups and say, "I'm going with her grandma this weekend,"
Hmm.
without any prompting, anything like that. She just goes and she has her time, and she enjoys her grandma's company, which is wonderful. And her grandma um, enjoys her company too. So a big shout out to you, Miss Hazel. And then, interestingly, in our community, where we've lived for the past um, 1 years, 51, 52 years, because my youngest sibling, when
Was
she came, she was a baby when we moved
okay.
into
So
that
no one
community.
was born there, but
No, yeah, but
mhm.
they grew up, and one of the young men who she's impacted, he just adopted us and said to
As
her, "You are
family.
one of the sons that we never had." And my older brother said, "But just come stand up beside me." I said, "But these are the brothers, 'cause I know one of my eldest brother is deceased."
Hmm.
So he
So he
said, "I
filled
don't
the
care
gap.
what you say, no, because Miss B took me in and looked after me and so on." And she was like that. So she got calls from overseas, all of her siblings. Her oldest brother called, who is 90. Um, and her sister was there, was 81. So it was a good time of just reflection and celebration of who she was. And all of her siblings call her mommy, because they said she was the mother of them all.
Oh, she's the eldest.
She's the eldest
Mm.
daughter. Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we'll celebrate Miss Hazel some more before we start celebrating you. We'll be right back.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program The Voice of Hope. as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
What should a taxi service do for you? On Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
We are something special on the road.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, a 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try and call, cause trust me.
What a relief.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady Lee, the Queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, Trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Yeah.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yes.
That we're making some time for Miss Hazel this morning. 87 years and counting.
Yes, and really.
What is it? 34 grandchildren and counting.
And 3 great-grand. Mm-hmm.
One, and of course, Percival is number 4 of 7. So she's made a solid contribution. You could actually calculate her contribution to the GDP.
Yes, we can do that because we're reflecting on her grandchildren, especially on what her children has done. Can you meet my brother? Because
Well, I met him on the phone. This is Michael Scott.
Yes, right.
And I met your sister.
Yes. So I'm going to meet another sister.
So say good morning to Miss Colleen.
Yes. And my other sister, as a surprise, flew in yesterday. So she has a real wonderful birthday present today because
she has one child who is contributing to a foreign economy. So you see the wealth of her.
Yeah, so and my nephew, who is, what is he, the 4th great grand, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Anyway, the joke he was just commenting on the fact that, hey, he says when people trouble him, he says, I'm gonna let my grandmother pray for you. You don't want a grandmother to pray for you because you know that is serious things. Because I tell people all the time, even in terms
What do
of
you mean?
my
You don't want or
he,
you
he-
want?
no, he says to them when they are troubling him, you don't
Yeah.
want my grandmother to pray for you, cause
Oh. All right. Strange kind of threat. Or you don't want my grandmother to curse you.
oh, that's what it means. Yeah.
That's
was,
really what it means.
But I say to a lot of people, if there's nobody else who prays for me, my mother prays for me every day, and she calls all of her grandchildren by their name and her children and so on. So enough respect. That's where my heritage comes from in terms of my personal faith and what it means to pray and to do that. So we just hail up grandma, hail up moms, hail up auntie, sister, all the persons you have influenced. And one of the things that I've understood that is in our DNA, we start in our mom, is just the ability to be active in community, just serving, just she was involved in Red Cross, she was involved in our PTAs and in the community generally, and just serving people. And some of the times we would recall, and I think persons of our age can recall, somebody from the country um, needing to move, and mom would say, this person coming to live with us for a certain time until they have their way. So even then, I just want to acknowledge my cousin who is a Commodore of one of the US ships. She was the first African American to do so. She was featured in the paper. So she came to us, yes. She's in America? No, I don't know if she have citizenship there, but she's Jamaican with African American, they call me. Yes,
Black woman.
She's a black woman.
Yeah.
And she was responsible for one of those naval ships, in terms of code and whatever. But big up to her. She went and she's done well. So and she came under my mother's
So she's your mother's niece?
my mother's niece. Yeah,
first
so it
cousin.
was just wonderful in terms of just people should just stick on and look after them and mentor them and ensure that indeed they were able to achieve their goals and ambitions. So happy 87th birthday to you, Mom, this morning. I know it's a happy birthday from all of us as your
The
children.
Morning Connection?
Yeah, the Morning Connection family, yeah.
Yeah, leave we out.
Yeah, but
Wow.
you know, I know, but it's true, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, what we see of you is confirmation of her excellence
Yeah.
because you are her begotten child.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's very pleased. She's very pleased
Yeah.
to see her Percival continuing to shine.
And all of her children actually. Can you met my sister?
Yeah, I met Colleen.
Colleen, who is yeah.
Bundle of energy. Miss JPS.
Yes. So that is family, and she's all about family.
I gotta ask you this, Percival, because I know mothers are special and mothers should never die. If there's one category of persons who should live forever, nobody is ever ready to say goodbye to their mom. What is it like now, sitting with your 87-year-old mom? Does she express an interest is she more here than there or there than here? You know what I'm asking. You know what I'm asking? My mom don't lose any opportunity to give you a hint of
so she wants to go
what she wants in her funeral service.
Oh no, she's
Which
done
always
that.
make one of my sisters burst into tears.
She does that, but she's kind of told us sometime what it is she wants, and she leave it. It is something that
fixing the garment on your
yeah,
microphone.
it's something that she does, but we kind of have instructions already in terms of what she wants, so we leave it and it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there acceptance, or are some people kind of still at the mama, stop talking about that?
Well, I guess that because they don't, but
I do. My mom is she'll be 81 in a few weeks' time. And she doesn't mind at all having a nice chat about her goodbye. And I'm the only one who entertains her.
Okay.
Everybody else get a little panicked. But one of the things that from a long time, I do understand that people have to go and they need to get a sense that you're comfortable too with them
Yeah,
going.
that's true.
Um,
As we talk about that, my wife's father,
yes.
when we visit him, him say him ready to go, him just waiting to go. He's in good health and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
you see what happens when
He's kicking back in the first class departure
you,
law.
you understand saying,
But
his
his
wife
wife,
died 3-4 years ago and they were
right?
married for 50 odd years.
Yeah.
And he
So.
says she's gone ahead and he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a sense in which they are not afraid to die. They look forward to it because for them it is a transition.
Yeah.
It's a transition from.
And I think as you get older, you become more aware that this realm and this existence is not all that there is.
Yeah.
And your curiosity increases. This is if you have lived a righteous life. So let's make it clear.
Yes.
People who don't live righteous don't want to leave.
Are fearful. Them
Very
very,
fearful of
very
death.
fearful.
They don't want to leave. I mean, and it doesn't mean you don't still believe in healing and taking care of your body so that it goes into the box in the best possible shape. But desiring to have a healthy, fulfilling life that is, long lasting and impactful doesn't take away from the understanding that when you're done here, there's somewhere else. Do you know when it came, it kind of came home quite forcibly to me. I was a late bloomer. Anybody who know me know Minette was not firing on all 8 cylinders in her 20s. I was not married or had children or even interested in either of those two things. But I remember after my son was born, I kind of did a little audit of major accomplishments or, things already done. And I remember thinking that the last great adventure is death.
Okay.
I remember lying there in the hospital. Well, I was barely there. I think I have the shortest hospital stay. I went in the Thursday and Daniel was born. Oh, how did it go? Daniel was born on a Thursday? It was a Thursday morning or the Friday morning? I know that I was out by the Saturday and it was Mother's Day and
Okay,
I
the
hosted
Sunday.
a Mother's Day.
Okay.
I was very bumptious, Hosted a Mother's Day lunch at home. My first Mother's Day, I was not going to miss it. But I do remember saying, whoa, hold on. You've done the career thing and got to a distance that is comfortable. You got married. Now you know what it is to have
You're ready to go
a
home.
baby. I'm like, what's the next
What's the
great
next
adventure?
frontier? And you're saying, okay.
Like, meeting God.
Okay,
Yeah.
face to face. But you're meeting him now.
Yeah.
But it was
No, in my true self now.
Yeah.
Where this earthbound body is no more, it's gone. And I'm in a different that's the next great excitement.
But a lot of people look for with great trepidation. That's how the word go, right?
Yes, it's trepidation. If you don't think you've done what you should in this realm, and you feel like, oh my God, I need another year. I got to catch up on this. I got to cover that. No. And do you know that, like for me, making that assessment was not a matter of material accomplishments or things that I have acquired. It was really like a heart position. It was feeling like I've strived at something. I've overcome some obstacles that were very challenging in my head. The things I dreamt about as a little girl, wanting to do this, do that, contribute to this. I've done it to the best of my ability. I felt like my heart had been fully stretched.
Okay.
And you've lived the highs and the lows. I don't need no more lows, please, thank you. Because after you've done the highs, the only repeating thing
is the lows.
is different stresses, different challenges. But when I look back at it, that assessment was from a heart position. And if any of what I'm saying is resonating with you personally, someone listening, the kind of audit that you do is, you grow up and your parents are telling you, your parents set your first set of goals.
That's true.
Complete school, for some, complete school and not get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
If you get pregnant, recover. So
Mm-hmm.
your goals are kind of imposed on you
Mm-hmm.
in your earlier years. Then when you've settled, it might be you have the ambition for a particular career, occupation, job. You strive for it, you get there. That's like a major accomplishment to bring yourself to a point of self-sufficiency based on the skills you've acquired.
Mm-hmm.
For some, they get to the outer court of the career hallway,
Mm-hmm.
meaning maybe you want to be a lawyer, but right now you're a paralegal. Maybe you want to be a doctor, but right now you're an intern in a hospital or a nurse's aide or whatever the path might be. So one great ambition will be to acquire the knowledge and the skills to take you to that place of accomplishment in your career. And that's a big tick when you get there. The next might be, I want to own a home.
Mm-hmm.
I want to purchase a home. That's a big one.
A lot of people.
Yes.
And we can make that easy by giving people land in this country.
Absolutely. I have a thing on land that I want to talk about this morning. So you have that ambition to own a home. Now, it may be not necessarily own it in the sense of it's yours, it's under your arm, you carry it wherever you go. It may be that what you want is to feel secure in your living situation. You accomplish that, you take it. Then the next step might be I want to build a family.
Mm-hmm.
You get married or not, but you find a partner of your choice to whom you're committed, which for me is marriage anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you get married and you have children. After that, you begin to hunt now for new mountains
to conquer.
But and sometimes what happens is that you drop and you have to start all over again. But you've done it.
But even as you've been talking, as we're in the new year and we setting our goals and we're doing our things, I just to close off the chapter, focusing on me in terms of, I think one of the things that struck me.
We're closing off a chapter focusing on you.
Yeah,
we're not closing it off, man.
No, but I think one of the things, because different persons, children, grandchildren, but, my wife,
your partner,
my beautiful wife,
yes,
of 29 years, gave a tribute to my mom, and she says, because daughter, and she said, no, I'm not a daughter-in-law. I've often, the way that your mom has treated me is like a daughter. She's never treated me like I was a daughter-in-law. I was accepted 100%, and my
That's incest.
Do not pay the penny section any man. Just so you know. Lowell, who could open a microphone, is busy chatting away from the back bench.
But and I said that is how my mom is. We'd have our spouses or whatever, and she's accepted them. She said, that's your choice. But she's embraced them. And another, my oldest brother, living brother, I looked across at his wife and she was shaking
nodding her head
and
yeah
saying yes.
yeah.
And I just said, wow, that I've been accepted by her as a daughter. As we move continue to move into the year, come to me, all who are weary and heavily burdened, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. You were speaking about goals and plans and people striving to do this and so on. It says, I'm just simply hearing God saying, yeah, those goals are good and important, but Learn to rest in me and understand that I want you to achieve those things, but the striving that you do to get it, some of the time it wear you out, but achieve those in me because I want it for you, but it won't be a difficult path. Because you know, a lot of persons in life become stressed out because they're not getting there, and him says, it's okay. There's a path that you need to follow. There's purpose that is being worked out in your life while you're here. So learn to rest in me. Learn to see that I want the same things for you, but not the way that you are seeking to achieve. Because the greatest thing that you need in this life is to be in relationship to me and watch me just work it out, working everything for good. I just leave that with you. Yeah.
I was just seeking to bring it in line with something I want to share with our listeners this morning. Last week, for quite a few times, as you greeted callers with the usual Happy New Year, some almost got violent in rejecting the greeting. It's just me and my dramatic self. But many persons pushed back.
Yes.
By saying,
that is good.
It's the same year, and one man even quite accurately said, the year not really started in January.
Started yesterday for the Ethiopian. They celebrated Christmas.
Springtime is when.
Yeah.
And so we had some conversations about it. This morning, I've been thinking about it and recognizing the legitimacy of the pushback. That these feelings are valid and they're real, and the fact that people have them and are moved to voice them. It's not usual that you would offer a greeting to someone and they actually quarrel with the greeting. That means it's in your craw.
Yes.
Yeah, you feel that, you know, people really need to get into a right understanding of these things. And given how things are progressing in Jamaica these days, every misunderstanding on something of philosophy or spirit becomes, you know, maybe that's why things are going so in Jamaica, because, you know, we are all at odds in our appreciation of some common things. So, of course, when something is plucking away at a nerve like that, you do something about it. At least that is my way. I do something about it. So I've been just trying to see how do I reconcile and have a more useful, purposive understanding of this dissonance between the Happy New Year people and the same old people. Because the Happy New Year people are in a frame of mind to start fresh and extract a new perspective and a new focus and a new purpose from the surroundings. We're not foolish. We know that, yes, one day to the next, there are some things that carry over.
True.
But when you are prepared to say, I'm starting fresh, it's a new year, there's a mindset behind it which can be very powerful in effecting change.
So it is very powerful.
To those, well, for some, they think it's an excuse. Some people think, oh, well, my sins are behind me from last year.
So you have to do nothing. You have to repent. You have to change. You have to change what you're doing, yeah.
There you go. Some see it as just a fresh chance to start a new gig, a new scam, or whatever.
You know that is a serious thing.
I know.
A new gig, a new scam.
Yeah.
They not change their mind. They do the same thing. They might do the same thing.
And they get new clients.
Yeah, new clients to scam. Oh boy.
Because
Lord.
said, no man, that's a last year thing.
So we're gonna try a new scam this year.
New thing this year. But for those who are burdened by the realization that time is a construct, and what is really of value and of importance is the relationships and continuity and building bridges. You know, like how the ants build their bridge to get to a place that there's no ant on the other side waiting to hold your hand. You are stepping on top of each other, oh my God. That is just an amazing thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
just
go research how ants build a bridge in the air.
Yes.
Totally dependent on the
each
man
other.
behind you holding the position so the next one can keep going. Oh, it's mesmerizing. Go to the ant.
Yes, but it's in the
Speak
proverb.
from Solomon.
Watch
Right.
the ant.
Watch the ant. So you are very, very conscious that, we closed last year with, whatever the murder count was. I try not to think on it. It is overwhelming. And you know that we're really not starting with one. People might think, okay, 2022 close. Oh, thank God. No, we can start over to count how many are dead, how many are dying in this country. But you are one of those feeling burdened by the fact that it's not, how many was it at the close of the year? If someone could remind me, I'd appreciate it.
And in terms of the people who died by
Jamaicans who died by violence in 2022. There are some of us who are very conscious that if it is 1,500 people, I'm picking a number. If it's 1,500, you're not fooled that come January 1, it start over and is one. You know that it is 1,501. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And those persons say, no, it's not a happy new year. This continues. I have a word coming out of the Sermon on the Mount talking about foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm saying it is we many of us talk about God being Alpha and Omega. As it begins, it ends. He doesn't start without knowing the finish. And it's words and words and words. But the actuality of that characteristic of God, in whose image we are made.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have that Alpha Omega spirit. We also have the ability to conceive of a thing from start to finish, and it is executed in our minds before we touch the first stone. So now we're talking about building. We can, on a daily basis, start fresh. We can, from 1 minute to the next, start fresh. Okay, that's done. That has not worked. Let me start again. We have that capacity within us. So if the whole world agrees that this is a point from which we're starting fresh, nothing wrong with it. Don't reject it. Here's what I'm giving you from the Sermon on the Mount. This is Christ talking about foundation, because starting fresh means you're creating a new foundation. The thing has collapsed because it was not on good foundation. The stresses and the pressures of life bring it to the ground, and you must pick up and start to build a new foundation. And that's what you have the opportunity to do. Every time a day ends, you can start the new day building. Every time a relationship ends, you can start a new one building. But you must know what materials are required to build a firm foundation. Christ was teaching, and he says to them, this is Matthew chapter 7, and this year we've decided to use the King James, the New King James version. That I'm using New King James. The King James is what everybody know, but the language sometimes is really too Shakespearean, and makes it unwieldy, certainly for public speaking. But the New King James is just a little bit more current. Christ says, therefore, he has been teaching and teaching about basic principles. And I got a very ugly looking sign.
You come back.
It's telling me it's 7 o'clock. Yeah. When we come back, we'll look into it, because it is a new year, like it or not. Everybody stop their calendar and start fresh with January 1. We're now into what, the second week?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When we return.
You simply
Best FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
Reignited for the future. Year in Review 2022.
Over land, sea, air, and everywhere. The Ministry of Transport and Mining was there in 2022. Stay tuned for some of the sector's highlights in this special Year in Review. The ministry kicked off 2022 with the introduction of sponsored flight training for residents of communities across the country where aerodromes are located. The goal, to get more youngsters interested in aviation and cultivate positive attitudes towards aerodromes.
And what we have done at the ministry, and we have partnered with West Indian School of Aviation. They have offered to the ministry, and we have done one set already, and they will be going to other aerodromes to offer about 4 or 5 youngsters within the community, chosen by the community, to get these familiarization trips.
Former Minister of Transport and Mining, Robert Montague. The Transport Authority also launched a driver training app for operators of public passenger vehicles, PPVs, as well as commercial drivers in January. Former Minister Montague welcomed the app for its ability to facilitate training using a gamified format.
So that the taximan, the conductor, the driver can stay in the privacy of their home, they can stay in the vehicle, they can go on their phone and on their tablet and learn the do's and the don'ts of proper driving.
The web application can be accessed at tappvtrain.com. February saw a changing of the guard in the ministry, with Minister Audley Shaw taking the reins. One of his first acts as minister was to sign an approximately $11 billion contract for Phase 3 of the runway expansion project at the Sankster International Airport, SIA, in St. James. The runway expansion project is expected to be completed in 2023. In the same breath, a new departures retail area was opened at the SIA in December. Mr. Shaw says this new space is part of an ongoing upgrading program at the airport.
This new addition brings the Sankster International Airport into a whole new league, and I'm excited to see the direction we are heading.
Over in the mining sector, the Jamaican Mining Cadastry JaminCAD online platform was officially launched by the Mines and Geology Division of the Ministry in March. The Mining Cadastry is a computerized database that allows users to, among other things, locate different types of known mineral deposits across Jamaica. Funding for the creation of the program was provided by the European Union under the ACP EU Development Minerals Program.
Geologists, mining investors, and various levels of government agencies with experience, short and long-term positive impacts of the operation of the new system on the mining sector. The system significantly improved the existing procedures and management of mineral licenses and related documentation. It provides client-focused, user-friendly interface and other end users.
Minister Shaw noted that the JaminCAD will be a critical tool in the country's transition away from an over-reliance on bauxite mining and the long-term viability of the sector. 2022 also saw the passage of the long-awaited New Road Traffic Act and its accompanying regulations in July, further advancing the government's road safety agenda. The act is set to come into full effect on February 1, 2023.
While the government has an obligation to its people to provide safe and reliable roads, it is absolutely necessary that road user behavior must change, and this must be supported by strong and sustained enforcement of legislation and public awareness.
In the meantime, there are plans to restore the Kingston rail service in 2023, beginning with a Culture Yard tour under the Jamaica Social Intervention Community Rail Project. The plan is to transport passengers by train from Kingston to 3 Miles and then to Culture Yard in Trenchtown. The initiative will support community development while preserving the history of rail in Jamaica. As a new year begins, the Ministry of Transport and Mining remains committed to the growth and development of both portfolios, in keeping with the objective of making Jamaica the country of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The new road traffic act
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us at 926-3866. We are something special on the road.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try and call him, cause trust me.
What a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady Lee, the queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Yeah.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back.
You continue on. You were
Yeah.
interrupted by our producer, which says time
The
out.
time- the time check.
out. Yes, when he was on in a flow. Yes.
All right. Okay. So, yeah.
The attitudes.
The
attitudes.
no, I was talking about the instruction from Christ that is a good guidance in understanding why it is a necessity to have the presence of mind to keep starting afresh so that you can create the right foundation for the things you're doing. And guess what? We're building foundations all the time, and we're doing them concurrently, simultaneously, meaning I'm building a foundation for a relationship. At the same time, I'm building a foundation for a career. At the same time, I'm building a foundation for, well, parenting is a relationship, but you're building foundations all the time, every day. Every time you meet someone and you start a new thought or idea, or you're setting something in motion, you are building. So there's really not a point when we rest from that. I'm gonna come to rest later. So Christ was on Sermon on the Mount. He's pouring out his heart. He's creating like a new understanding of what righteous living means, what it should look like, and he used some specific examples. As well, Pastor was saying, the Beatitudes, the best attitudes, the beautiful attitudes that we should have as we journey. At the end of it all, he says, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock being a metaphor for these sound principles that should be at the foundation of all we do. And he then tells you what it is like now when you never obey these sayings of his. He says, but everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. Because, of course, all this, it's a great metaphor during these days of climate adaptation and understanding climate change. Just see how on point the Savior was in his parables. We all know what it looks like when something built on sand collapse. I mean, who hasn't been to the beach and tried to do a sand castle? It is a castle, and it should be enduring, but built on sand, and most times built off sand. The water take away the foundation. And those who lived by that Caribbean community out near Harborview, you just go out there and stand and look and say, oh, what was Christ talking about? What you see is an erosion from underneath. Up top still look good. Many of us are walking around, body intact, looking good, but if you had to examine what's going on under the bedrock, I shouldn't say rock, if you had to look what's going on below, no foundation, and great, he said great was the fall?
Great, yes. No, but as you reflect
great was
on
its
that,
fall.
it's a lot of people, it's about the hype.
Yes.
And
yeah, man, the PR, the noise.
But there's nothing.
The foundation is not there. Yeah. So let's take that now from the personal. So we're not talking about you now. We're talking about Jamaica as a nation, as a country, occupying a geographic space, doing business within this space, and seeking to bring wealth and prosperity in an organized way to its citizens. How are we doing? How are we doing? The foundation is not there. And that's why all the good ideas, all the best practices that we try to implement, all the initiatives that sound so good when they're announced, give it a little run and you see erosion, soil erosion. Now, if we close the year, the foundation isn't there. Now, can you start building afresh? I say yes. Every day you can look at a relationship and say, this require a new foundation.
Dig it up.
Yeah.
Some of the times you've seen people
you don't have to wait till it falls.
No, man,
is what you're saying.
The foundation not sound, so you got to dig it up. You have to excavate and start over because the foundations were not good at all.
Have you ever done that?
In terms of
you're such a righteous man.
In a personal way.
Anything you want to confess?
Not at this point in time. It doesn't come to mind readily, but I know there have been occasions where you and somebody been relating and it started on the wrong footing. So you have to go back and say, no.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, but you're saying nothing comes to mind for you. What they say, mark the perfect man.
No.
We don't mark you.
No, please
But
not.
no, that is a perfect one example that Pastor is giving. And I'm speaking now as led because I feel like you're listening and you're trying to relate it to, okay, how can I change my circumstances and bring success out of something that is falling apart under the winds and the waves and the rain and so on? Because just understand, the house is a metaphor for your life. Your life is comprised of many different elements. You have relationships with people that are significant to you. It's your employer if you're employed.
Life
You're
is
an
about
employer
relationships.
if you employ others. Maybe you're a commuter on the road. Whatever it is, all the relationships that underpin your daily movements are a part of your house, part of your life. Some of them may be very, very unproductive. There's a young man who was killed recently, and his mother was she was just lamenting the circumstances surrounding his death. And she spoke about him having a job in which he delivers goods. And she spoke of a woman who ordered a pair of designer slippers from him. And she told him to go to a specific place to purchase it, and she gave the money appropriate to the cost of the thing, the value of the thing. When he went there, that store was closed. The mother telling it. He got imaginative and say, oh, him have a friend who sell those kind of slippers. She had given him like $12,000 for these slippers. He went to the friend, got a pair of bootleg slippers, took it to the lady who immediately recognized it was not of the quality that she wanted, and she demanded to get back her money. It was in the Christmas holidays. He had challenges getting the friend to
give back.
And eventually he, of his own efforts, gargantuan efforts it sound like, pay back the lady her money. But by this time, her boyfriend had got involved. And they were not satisfied, and a dispute.
He gave the money back to them.
Gave back the money, but feelings, because now they felt like he might try scam them and they might fight him for the money, and he's dead. It was reported in the paper. These facts I'm pulling from the newspaper report.
So what happened?
The mother feels that his death is in somehow connected to this dispute which arose over a pair of slippers.
So who killed him? The
They
boy.
feel that the mother feels that the boyfriend got involved in a
Boyfriend
violent
of
way.
the lady.
The lady who, yeah. And she says she has reported all this to the police, and she seemed to be complaining that the police have not acted on the information. I guess largely because she know who the people are and she see no report of anyone being taken in. The point I'm making is
relationships.
Here is a relationship.
Bad foundation. Relationship, bad
Yes.
foundation. But as you
But at any point in that, you could have done the excavation that you're talking about. It sounds like he's a good youth. He might try. He wasn't intending to scam anybody. There are a lot of persons who. There is a world in which a pair of designer slippers has great meaning to the one who wants it.
Yeah.
But to another man, it's just slippers and they look alike.
Yeah. It is true. You're right.
So he's not thinking that him cheat her out of anything.
But he probably don't know. But I was just thinking, I just said, just reflecting in terms of relationships, and I know I've had to I made an assumption. There's somebody that I relate, and I made an assumption about something that happened, and she was not at all pleased
with the assumption.
And I had to apologize.
Right.
I had to go and apologize
So
profusely.
that is one way that you can start afresh
and say,
and
I am so
change
sorry.
the foundation.
I am so sorry. I was never intentional, and the person accepted it, and so we moved. So it's so important to recognize the importance of the relationships that you use, because your relationships is what help you to build a house. Because I have a simple premise: everything you do in life is based on the quality of relationships that you have with people. That's what it is.
I want to share a tip with you from Keon Brown.
Mhm.
He says, Minute and Pastor Percy, make it a point to do something every day that you don't want to do. This is the golden rule for acquiring the habit of doing your duty without pain.
Interesting.
That's interesting. The many, many things that I get, I see the gold in it.
Mhm.
I see, because there are some persons who procrastinate. They put off doing the good things that they are duty bound to do because it involves inconvenience.
Yes, that's true. And you don't want to
and
do it. You don't want to face up to
yes,
the rejection you think is rejection. And some of the times I have found you make all these assumptions about what is happening. When you go and say, I saw it easy it was when you begin to do all of these things without just doing it and facing up to what needs to happen. And you put off and you're thinking about what the person are gonna say, what am I gonna do? And it wasn't that at all. You have made all of these assumptions. You have built this castle in your mind.
Yes.
Without really going back to the assumptions and doing what you're doing. I've done that in some occasions.
And when the castle collapsed,
yes, yeah,
because the assumption was
house
sand,
collapsed. Yes,
it was
yes.
not bedrock.
Mm-mm.
The whole thing collapsed. Can you build again? Yes.
Yes,
You can build again.
Mhm.
And so when you hear someone say Happy New Year, don't fuss with the individual and think that, they are trying to draw you into some pagan or some ungodly mindset. See it as an opportunity to start fresh, to review foundations, and this you can do daily, weekly. The truth of the matter is, this you must do every time you realize that the sand has been washed away. And you can know it. I love the way he says the rain come and the wind and so on, because if you can see those things as the challenges which you come up against, or that come up against you, because let's face it, we are the eternal ones. The challenges are temporary.
True. Yes, that is so important.
So the challenges that come up against you,
Mhm.
trying to shake you from your position and disturb your plans, if you can have a right perspective of them, when they're coming, just know, okay, can I withstand this? What's my foundation here? Let me just check. Am I acting? Did I do something wrong? Am I in the right? Have I proceeded in a just way? Jesus was saying, when you hear these words of mine and obey them, you are living the life of a man or woman who has built their house upon rock. He's saying, what I'm telling you is solid, good truth, good things on which you can build. And if you follow those things, you won't have any problems when the trials and the tribulations, and it's like you say, your mother say, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember the many lies
that you told. But it is true. It is so true. And it goes back to what Jesus was given to us in the Beatitude, is principles of life. And if you
righteous living, man.
righteous living. So if you understand what the principles is, there's somebody who says to me every time we are having a discussion, he says, what it is you're trying to achieve, but what principle is what you're doing based on. And I say to
oh, this is Pastor Al.
yes,
Yeah.
my children, I say to them, remember the principle. The principle, if the principle is what will go through all the different situations. What is the principle for what I am doing? If it is right, it would withstand everything. So it's like the principle of telling the truth all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have some people, like you have a girlfriend, or let's put it into real life.
Yes.
You have all these different relationships as a gentleman. And you tell this one something, you tell this other one something else. As we say, give them all, give them something for hold them. And then it comes back
Is
at
hollow
you.
a way of saying hollow? What is hollow?
Give them something for hold them. Give them
I know,
hollow.
but is it just a mispronunciation of the word
Right.
hollow? You have delivered hollow goods. It has no inside, no substance.
Well, you are
I just
English.
wonder.
You're doing it. Well, give them
The linguist.
Yes, but probably look. But the truth is, it comes
Olo.
back to haunt you, especially the gentlemen who are
Who are
go
no
around
gentlemen at all.
yes, the men who
You
go
can't
around the
just say the
place,
man them.
the man them who go around and tell the
Because
ladies them all of these different things. And guess what happens? I've seen it. Somehow, the different ladies meet up surreptitiously, or they just meet up and then say, what are they? I'm gonna compare notes and they say, and I've seen it happen where they just gang up on the man.
Is that in a Nigerian movie? Because Jamaican women more like to gang up on each other.
Yeah, no, I've seen it
You've
happen
seen
in
it in Jamaica,
yes,
where the
man.
women came together
And yes, all
and
right,
work out justice.
justice upon him. Yes, man.
Is
Never
that in your counseling life? Or?
no, it's
I'm curious, but I don't want you to break confidentiality. Most times you hear women are come. I don't know. I don't
women
know.
are fight over the money. That's what
Yeah,
happening in Jamaica. But some of
yeah,
them,
that's
they're getting very wise. Yeah, so
yeah.
no,
And there was even that awful case I think it's last year, where she's a hairdresser, a young woman in the downtown area.
Mhm.
The rival killed her, had her killed.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, see now, anyway, it's like one bad thing begets another,
Things, yeah, so
because that is no foundation on which to build a relationship.
speak the truth.
In fact, for those persons who, this is something that has always kind of made me curious. Like you get together with someone and you know, well, both of you might be otherwise committed,
Yeah.
and then out of that beginning comes a marriage or so on.
Yeah.
Do you know, I had a friend from another country. From the time I met them in Jamaica, they were here. They came here on business, and the man traveled with a lady, and when I met them in their country of origin, now I realized the lady was married to someone else, had been for a long time, grown up children, big children, and he was also married to someone else.
Oh, jeez.
They got married after having a relationship that spanned several years. They then got married, and do you know, like
They can't
within
trust each other.
within a number of years,
Them split up.
too short,
Split up because it was built
just
on a lie.
foundation.
Yeah, man, foundation
But
up.
they could have fixed that foundation.
Yeah, yeah, but I see
They
it,
could
you
have
know,
fixed that
but
foundation.
we got into marital counseling, but you can't do that. You can't
Start with a lie.
Yeah, you start with a lie.
It will not prosper.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah.
So, and take it. So that's relationship. In your job, you went into your job under false pretenses.
Oh, geez.
Maybe you fix up a resume that borrowed from other people's
People, you know,
life.
that's happening in the States now. Somebody was recently elected
Oh,
to
yes,
the
yes, yes,
Congress,
yes,
and
yes,
he
yes.
embellished his resume, and people saying they need to
And the truth has
let
come
him
out.
Yes, you
Mhm.
can't do that.
So we're now talking to our listeners. Yeah, you thought it was okay to embellish your resume and you get the job. Now that you're in the job, the winds and the waves and the rain
Oh,
is
they come,
beating.
man.
Well,
can't deliver.
okay, what's the fix for that one? Have you just quit?
Yeah, I was trying to get the skills, but let the people become aware. The truth will always come to the fore.
All right. You know how I just love to find the comparable
Oh, you're talking
precedent. I love find biblical
You mean
precedent.
maybe Abraham?
Abraham and
That's one
and
of them.
Sarah. Yes. Abraham and Abimelech. Twice Abraham lied about the true relationship between himself and Sarah. And his way of lying was by omission, because she was indeed his half sister. Those things were permissible. She was his father's child, but not his mother's. And I think the truly repugnant part of that type of incest is you can't come out of the same womb.
Okay.
So you can't marry your sister who is of the same mother, but with the father, clearly it was permitted. So Sarah was his, and then do you know the other thing too, as I consider it, you recall that with the Jews, a child could be a child considered a child of the father without being a biological child.
That's correct. And we are up
Let's
on
take
the
our break.
7:30 break.
7:30.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new with them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Guys, trust me.
What a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
My goodness. Welcome back. I don't know how much of this we can share.
True, all of that is lie.
What are we reading? What did you show me?
Says, true hollow.
Oh, hollow. True. Oh, hollow.
like-
No. It's not just hollow. Hollow go. Well, how you pronounce it? Oh gosh, Ken. Right. Call me and tell me how you pronounce that word here. Hologo. What's the word, Lowell? I know I've heard you use that word once or twice.
Give them holo.
And where holo come from? Is it I saying, is it a reference to the hollowness of the tale you have told? It has no
We
substance.
just go up here and you just
But,
give them holo, you give them something for whole.
Yeah.
You kind of
but
really
it
want
empty.
tempty. Well, you are going into the deeper ramifications of
I'm
it.
going into the whole truth. And
I will help you, God.
All right. So before we took the break, we were moving from New Testament into Old Testament, because Christ said He's the fulfillment of the law and the prophets, and Abraham, they say first among equals, great prophet. And we're talking about now, how do you start something on a bad foundation? It come under pressure, and you now need to either excavate and fix, or it has crashed and you've got to rebuild. Because one of the things that we maintain on this program is there is no walking away, throw up your hands in despair and say, well, me can't do no more.
Can't bother.
None of that. The fact of the matter is, Jamaicans really are made of very stern stuff, We don't throw up our hands lightly and walk away from nothing. We are carried to the end, but sometimes we lack wisdom. And we lack the knowledge to do justice to the situation. And we have appointed ourselves, Minette and Percy, as coaches and guides to just help you into doing the best that you can. And even if you don't do what we do, which is to throw ourselves, body and soul, into serving God and approaching things from a godly perspective and striving to be in alignment with this is, some might even say we're cowards. We know we can't do it by ourselves. I speak for me. I know I can't do it by myself. So I try to associate myself with something bigger than me, divine. No, that's coward behavior.
I don't
Look
think
for a defender and go stand behind some broad shoulders. That's what
I like that.
That's what I do. But absolutely.
It's like the baby bear and the mama bear.
Absolutely. I'm hanging on to mama's tail and saying, all right,
come and say, all right,
cover
check
me.
who's behind me. So I'm good.
Cover me. So that's what I do. How you describe what you do?
Same thing.
Okay. All right. So some of you feel you're bigger, bolder, and you can tough it out on your own. And if you're bigger, bolder, and can tough it out on your own, then you know what? You still need some principles and reference points.
Yeah.
So we borrowed a little bit from a great prophet, and we spoke using the words that Jesus gave to those who were listening to him. And he was saying to them, all right, you've spent a day listening to me talk up here on Mount Carmel.
You need to take it to heart.
Everything that you hear me say now.
You need to put it into practice.
Put it into practice.
And I just want to pause there. I think that is one of the greatest challenges that we face in a very broad way. We talk a lot of things, but we don't apply it. Take the principle and apply it and put it into practice. Because from a point of discipleship as a pastor, that's a challenge we face. People go to church, Sabbath church, Sunday church, pastor preach him soul case out, as we'd say. He speaks about our principle. I say, good, sound good sermon. But then the principles that he's pointed out, we don't take it to heart and say, this is what will change my life. Because that's when the real transformation happens, when you take it and apply it. Which is why James, in speaking, said, be not only hearers of the word,
but doers.
You don't come and look in the mirror, see reflection, and then you don't do
You forget what you look like.
Yeah.
Or you're so unhappy with what you look like, you start to bleach and spend all the time bleaching your skin. Yes, I got there. I got there. Because all these things have a practical manifestation and effect in people's lives. And that's what we're trying to do, to be that bridge built in the air that connects you to what you hear and then what your hands do, because it's very easy to just sit and listen.
And don't do anything.
And don't feel like you're a part of it.
And it's time to take up arms, as you'd call it, take it to heart and begin to act. You speak about taking responsibility. If you don't take these principles and begin to apply them, then you're not responding in a very positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
You're just another one of the talkers out there looking on and thinking that it's happening to them,
but not me,
and not seeing yourself as a part of it. So guess where we went now? Having spoken about firm foundation and me making the point to you that every day you can check the foundation of the major relationships and institutions in your life and make sure that if something not right, you fix it, because you can rehab your foundation.
You can.
You know, if you wait till it crash, you can go into your boss and say, I'm concerned about so-and-so because last week I don't feel like I did my best on X issue and it's bothering me. Could we look at it again and see? I love to just make up conversations on how things can be addressed. I rehearse things in my mind all the time. I rehearse, how would I enter into a conversation on X or Y issue, because these things will be troubling you, but you don't know how to address them and how to start. So if you have a problem with your boss, push the door, listen to me. Better you go in before something is put on your desk. Or somebody come and say, explain this to me. You can always go in and say, I've just been thinking about that transaction we did. I feel like I might have missed something important. You well know, say you did miss something important, but you're now inviting the person to come into it and hold your hand to fix it. Worst case is you'll end up like that man who brought a bad thing to the attention of the board and then fire him. Worst case. But at least you were ahead of it, because one of the things that is demanded of us is honesty and transparency in our transactions and accountability. And while we're there looking at the politicians and talking about misfeasance in office or breach of public trust or any of the things that we use to describe the corruption that is around us, just remember that you yourself in your many little dealings don't have the courage to step up and do the right thing when you've gone astray. The same corruption you're looking at in other people, it's in you. You have to look at yourself and say, well, did I do right in this or that way? I say the honor you give is the honor you receive. If we are not accountable to ourselves and to our partners and the very many things we're in, then nobody's going to be accountable to us. Well, they just dismiss you because we're all the same. So
do the same thing.
Yeah, we all do the same
which
thing.
is the challenge. Last week you alluded to it, which is the challenge that we are facing right now in Jamaica.
Yep.
We know.
With the crime and violence and corruption.
Yeah, we know. We always point fingers and said the leaders, but leaders are leading somebody.
The leaders come out of us.
Yes.
So the same thing what we are doing that them do.
Yeah, so they just magnify it, they take it to another level.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out to me, we often speak about integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And we think of it only integrity in good. But if a man tell you, say, I got thief.
I mean, thief.
He's a man of his
high integrity. He's a man of his word.
Yeah, but we joke about it. But we just really begin to really examine it and change our minds, a mind shift, repent. But I want us, even as we are heading towards 8 o'clock, for you to highlight some of the things which is speaking to the same principle foundations in terms of what you're saying over the weekend.
Yeah. I want to finish with this Abraham thing, because there's a principle there that we need to trigger in our own affairs.
Good.
So you and I were joking about Abraham telling Abimelech, and it was not the first time he did it. He went into Egypt as well. Imagine he went to Egypt because there was famine and he was looking to be sustained. But acknowledging that his wife is a world-class beauty, he set it with her.
She was the first
She was Miss World. Yeah, he set it with her that if anyone asks, she was to refer only to the family bond between them. She's his sister. And sure enough, Abraham is prophetic. As he thought, when he arrived, the word of her beauty got to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh took her into his palace.
Then the curse reached him.
And curse reached him. And again, it was God who intervened and brought it to Pharaoh's awareness. Those times were just fantastic because people understood that there was meaning to dreams and visions, and they sought to understand it.
Still are.
So that happened one time. God covered him. Well, naturally, being the man he was, Abraham did it again. Abimelech. And when I said that, being the man he was, not meaning it in a disparaging way. He was a man who enjoyed the protection of God. So even when he did something out of fear, because you have to say, no, did he not trust God to cover him in that situation? Or is it that he understood the ways of men and he was being careful not to provoke something that could be avoided based on how carefully you move? And so he went into a new country and did not disclose that she's both wife and sister. He only says sister.
I think Abraham was under process, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, aren't we all?
Yeah. So
So in our imperfection, having a heart that is not, he wasn't trying to pimp her. It's not like he went in and say, here's a beautiful woman, and just make sure say, I'm okay. It was only in a bid for self-preservation. And that makes me come to the understanding that when a man is concerned about protecting life and limb, any
number will play.
Any number can play. It is true. And that crossed my mind as I contemplated. I said, we look at what's happening in Jamaica. We see that even at the risk of imprisonment, people still do certain things. Why?
Self-preservation.
Self-preservation is at the heart of it. And even when, law and order and high officials come out and say, turn on your brother or your sister if you think they're in crime.
Self-preservation.
It don't shift the needle. Self-preservation.
Because they are saying if you are raising the bar for us, raise it for yourself. That is a message that they are indeed sending back
the
to
subliminal.
Yes. Sending it back to them. So okay, you want us to do it, you do it first.
Yeah.
If you do
when I can trust you to honor the principle that you're imposing on
then
me,
I will do it.
Then we're in business.
And
this was evident in what was going on here.
I get me happy here now.
He's dancing for those who are not looking.
No, but you see, we raised a point last week about the code of conduct.
Yeah. Yep.
And it looks like some people are
joining.
Yes,
joining in joining in the same call, and it will break this week. They're going to sign it. And let's not disparage them because they had to be pushed and encouraged.
Self-preservation.
When you push and encourage your children, you just give them more love and celebrate them when they move in the right way.
Yes.
So I know that we will be celebrating these two leaders coming on board, and the next step is going to be for the Integrity Commission to not just let it be words. And I my expectation is that once you set that in motion, that's a foundation now for a whole new relationship of how you oversee, scrutineer, whatever it is they do. And it should, that whole thing with the Prime Minister's declaration being unpublishable, that should break too.
Yeah, shift. Because what you're doing in a perception drives people's reality. They will like it or not.
Yeah.
The way that you are thinking, we do it in terms of thoughts, feelings, behavior. But if you don't get a shift in terms of thought processes, which drive your feelings, you're not going to get a
your
change
hand's
in
not going to
behavior.
follow to do anything.
So we are saying, and it is important that the code of conduct, very important in terms of perception, in terms of change. We know whether they want to say it or not. It's about self-preservation. At the root of it is about self-preservation. But if we are saying if we're gonna get a change, a shift in terms of the present narrative, in terms of corruption, in terms of crime and violence, leaders must lead by the things that they do. We know they are thinking about self-preservation. And you are calling Jamaicans to join you, then you do the first thing and watch what happens.
Yeah, lead by example.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the Gleaner opinion and commentary on the matter yesterday, Sunday, January 8th. The editor was saying they find it difficult to understand why neither the Prime Minister nor the opposition leader has formally signed off on the code of conduct. And they referred to it, the act of signing off, as being an important symbol. And we know what that means. I bless them for having the courage to come out and say it, because it's been around since November. And maybe we are amongst the few that are talking about it. Though I see the leader of the National Integrity Action, Mr. Trevor Monroe,
Professor
yes,
Trevor
Professor Monroe is now speaking our very own language too. He's speaking about the same things that we are speaking, and pushing for the leadership of this nation to fall behind the principles that we are espousing. And I bless him for that. There are some other things that we saw shift as well. And for me, this is a signal that a new foundation is being built. Me no even say contemplated, is being built, because I complain about the silence of certain significant voices. When they are silent, you know that, okay, you can't expect to see any action, because, as you say, you got to speak it into being. And if they're not even prepared to speak it, then that tells you. All right. The Chief Justice earned some good points from us when he spoke yesterday. He was reported. It's not. I think maybe it was Friday. They were swearing in new judges, so that might have actually been Sunday. I didn't pay close attention. I was just captured by my attention was captured by what he was saying to these new judges. Last week and before, from the time they start to talk about violence producers,
what is that?
I have rejected the concept. Using the term intelligence package, violence producers, as synonyms for Jamaicans in whom the police have an interest. We've got to reject it.
They've been trying to change a narrative.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's right up there with the word squatters. We have to reject that too. But last evening, the Chief Justice was reported. In fact, they carried a clip of him saying to these new judges, be courageous and be bold in your interpretation and application of the law. Do not be drawn into meeting the public. He had a phrase that he used. I don't want to misquote him, but he was essentially saying, don't listen to important people carrying a narrative in the public space and be influenced by it in the decisions you make. He said violence producer is not a defined term in law. Exactly as I've said. It's not a defined term in law. When people come before you in the courts, you must, when people come before you in the courts, you must treat with them in accordance with the law as you know it. Don't treat them as convicted persons before they are convicted. And he began to make reference also to, he didn't call it by name, but
Friday, Militant Friday, as he urged newly appointed.
Yes, it was Friday.
Yeah,
yeah.
and Masters and Chambers. Sykes made the declaration on Friday as he urged newly appointed Supreme Court judges and Masters and Chambers at a ceremony to have courage to decide cases against popular sentiments locally amid criticisms in a high crime environment like Jamaica. The term violence producer was used by Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson Tuesday, December 6, when revealed during a press briefing to declare state of emergency that over 300 persons are on the radar of the police locally. He says,
he further says
that the Jamaica JCF has prepared intelligence packages and is actively building cases against the violence producers. But Sykes said, it is a criminal law that determines whether a crime has been committed, and it's a court that determines whether a person should be branded a criminal at the end of the trial process, assuming that there is a conviction.
As such,
he pointed out we have a number of terms being used now, such as violence producers. We don't know who those are. Is it defined? How do we get to these expressions? Asked the island's chief jurist. And the expectation seems to be that once a particular arm of the executive defines them as such, then it is supposed to be accepted without question by the judiciary.
All right. So you know what? I said to when I heard all that he was saying, I said, wow, he's listening to our show. The point is, all of what he has said is spot on. Spot on. All of what he has said. And we really have to be careful about or adopting some of those phrases and dehumanizing our brothers and sisters and then allowing the police or the political arm or whichever whoever is pushing that narrative to cause us now to distance ourselves from people with whom we need to build better foundations. Yeah.
And you know, it's
so proud of the Chief Justice for that because we've been calling people out, calling them out, so they can set the right tone for the relationship that should exist between Jamaican and Jamaican under the covenant.
And the covenant that we have. And it's important because remember, we started our program right in the middle of the pandemic. And because one of the things that we pointed out to the powers that be, it is important that you allow people to have the relevant information so they can make informed decisions. And we've been referred to as pseudo-intellectuals. The term
false prophets,
anti-vaxxers, all different terms were
disparaging terms
to create a narrative of fear, which now, as we have proceeded along, a lot of information is coming to the fore in terms of these vaccines and the safety of them and a lot of things that people were afraid and people they were professionally put at risk in terms of the bodies that have accredited them saying this is our general position, but they're saying but based on our training as scientists something is wrong. Now the information, the body of information is emerging that's saying people seem to have been very right.
So, I'm listening to you and I hear what's in my head. I said, Pastor sound like one of the men who won't let the people build a new foundation. You know, those people who, but the last week you didn't do this. And you see that now you have to be like, let's let them build a new foundation.
Yeah, but
that is the forgiving. That's why the forgiveness ratio is so high. 70 times 7.
I am a dear sister.
No matter.
That's 490 times in one day, It's not in a week.
It's not for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's not a lifetime. It's 70 times 7 is the amount of times. If minute has wronged me and come back and say, person, me sorry. I am.
And the next time I come with my hollow.
Yes, come give me hollow.
Your duty is to treat me as if you've never heard that before. You know that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah? It's a very high bar.
Plan Secure Jamaica, which is Mr. Chang.
Yeah, I heard something. Anyway, I won't say it on air. Yeah, but I got to know if Mr. Chang is able to travel freely.
Oh.
I see it. Yeah, someone asked me on the weekend, how is he? Is he compromised in health or otherwise from traveling? Yeah, if I get information on it, I'd be grateful. There are some other things. Let me mention them very quickly. So we give Chief Justice points on that. The Gleaner editorial, yes. And then my friend Gordon Robinson was writing again on the necessity for the opposition to mount the proper challenge to this abuse of the Constitution with SOEs. We've been saying that, and I think that's being done.
Coming. I think it's coming.
Yeah. We have to open the lines in another few minutes, and I'll take the opportunity to look at the reparations conversation. There was an article in the paper. I like to look out for them. In the Gleaner it was. And it was looking at the burning of the plantations in one of the famous rebellions. Why is it that the slaves who were in rebellion did not try to kill white people? I think the reference was that like only 14 white people died, in contrast to the over 500 slaves who they then executed and punished in the aftermath of the rebellion. What was the rationale for this attack against property and assets? And I'm just looking at it as a precedent for what will happen next as we continue our fight for freedom. I know it's 8 o'clock. Please stay with us. When we come back, we're going to open the lines, and we look forward to speaking with you.
You're simply the You're simply the
Best FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. World leaders have condemned the storming of Brazil's Congress on Sunday by supporters of the former president Jair Bolsonaro. President Biden said the will of the Brazilian people must not be undermined. Britain, Germany, France, Russia, China and India also expressed their support for the new president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Brazil's security forces have taken back control of the Congress. Our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, says many in Brazil are now focusing on the former president's actions.
Bolsonaro's critics and enemies have been saying that even the relative silence that he's followed since the election is in itself sinister, that going to Florida gives him a safe distance, some deniability from what might go on in Brazil and what indeed happened in the last 24 hours. Brazilians must want quiet after the tumult, but they're not going to get it, I think, not for some time.
Iran has sentenced to death 3 more people accused of killing 3 members of the security forces during the 3 months of protests triggered by the death of Mahsa Amini. David Bamford reports.
The Islamic Republic of Iran has been rocked by civil unrest since the death in September of a 22-year-old woman who'd been arrested for violating Iran's strict dress code. 4 protesters had been executed, prompting international anger. 14 were already on death row, and now a further 3 have been sentenced for execution. Their alleged crime, waging war against God, and more specifically, involvement in the death of members of the security forces. Iran is second only to China in its use of the death penalty, executing hundreds of people every year.
A court in Belarus has begun hearing the case of 5 former employees of the news website Tutbai, which took a leading role in covering mass protests against President Alexander Lukashenko 3 years ago. The defendants, including the editor-in-chief Marina Zolotova, are accused of undermining national security, inciting hatred and tax offences. Rights groups say it's a politically motivated case. Talks are being held between Sudan's military leaders and civilian groups in an effort to end the political crisis triggered by the 2021 coup. Mary Harper reports.
The UN says this is the final phase of the negotiations. That might be optimistic. The military and civilian power blocs have struggled to work together productively since the revolution 4 years ago that toppled President Omar al-Bashir. There's little reason for civilians to trust the military, given that they derailed the transition in 2021 by staging a coup. Sudan's political paralysis has knock-on effects. The economy is at rock bottom, and there are regular outbursts of violence. Opposition groups have vowed to continue with street protests, but they no longer have much effect in bringing about real political change.
BBC News. Pope Francis has again denounced the war in Ukraine in a speech to diplomats at the Vatican. He said all acts of war directed towards the indiscriminate destruction of vast populated areas were crimes against God and humanity, which merited unequivocal condemnation. The Pope did not mention Russia by name. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for massive investments to help Pakistan recover from last year's devastating floods. Addressing a conference in Geneva to raise funds for Pakistan, Mr. Guterres said the country was doubly victimised by climate chaos and what he called a morally bankrupt global financial system. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called for a new coalition of the willing to provide the country with a lifeline. A mother accused of killing her 3 daughters over a 3-year period has gone on trial in Greece over the death of her eldest. Rula Pisperigo, a nurse, is accused of poisoning the 9-year-old with ketamine in January 2022 while she was in hospital. The Philippines has announced plans to import thousands of tons of onions in an effort to overcome a national shortage, with onion prices in the country thought to be among the highest in the world. Here's Celia Hatton. Onions are central to Filipino cooking, and the government says the swift rise in their cost is one of the central drivers behind soaring household bills. But the reasons behind the suddenly high price of onions are still up for debate. Some say Manila failed to place import orders for onions in time, leading to a scramble to purchase local harvests. Others say cartels are behind the disappearance of the root vegetable, citing suspicions that some are profiting handsomely by selling onions for around 6 times their normal price. That's the latest world news from the BBC with me, Emily Thomas.
Seniors, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is advising that the November 2022 payment under the Social Pension Program is now available for collection. Check your text messages to confirm your payment arrangements. For further information, call 876-922-8007. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, providing opportunity, stability, and social protection.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Gulf Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady Lee, the queen of the South, and I'm inviting you all to trailblaze with me on the best of the best radio station, the Best 100 FM, Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. You can't afford to miss it on your airwaves. Yes, trailblaze with Lady Lee right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on the best of the best, Best 100 FM. Mwah.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Morning Connection on Best 100 FM right here in Kingston, Jamaica. And I say welcome to some new voices that I am hearing on. This is on, I've now have two YouTube channel, two different channels open. Yeah, because Lowell was having fun on another channel with some of the comments that were coming in, and there's a question posed that I think is well worth discussing, even as we're going to the calling section of our program. The numbers to call are 876 279 8473 and 876 619 1508. I want to answer one question before we open the lines. Welcome to Agro Valley Farm. And he has asked a question which perhaps many are considering. He says, what is out of place with describing people as violence producer when it is well known that it is their lifestyle by choice? No court of law is necessary to confirm that. Let's start with the pastoral and I'll do the legal.
No, you do the legal, but I'm just saying putting labels on people without any real foundation is wrong, because what you are doing, we keep saying life and death is in the
I like
power
how
of
he
the
said,
tongue.
no, you answer it, but and then
Life
he
and death
answers
is in
it
the power
perfectly.
of the tongue, and you'll eat the
Yeah.
fruit thereof. If you put a label on somebody, they're gonna accept it and begin to behave in a way. But violence producers, who is a violence producer? You tell me, legally. Who's a violence?
There's no such.
There's no such term.
And the reason there's no such is that, okay, so let's start from a proper place. Living as free men and women in a country, we are under a covenant which governs the relationship that we have with each other, and that covenant is your constitution. Under your constitution, persons are regarded as citizens with rights, certain rights. Some are guaranteed a certain level of protection. And when you look at those rights, you would see as regards criminal behavior and violence in any form that operates, that flows between one individual and another, is illegal.
True.
I mean, we're even getting to the point where if you slap your child, that is now being regarded as violence and abuse.
You're going to be a violence or abuse producer.
So yeah, when you start now to dehumanize individuals by classifying them based on their conduct, you are shifting away from what the Constitution requires. The Constitution talks about citizens, and if citizens are caught up in law enforcement runnings, they can become convicts or defendants or whatever stage of the process you are. There's a name for you. There is no name
in law.
There's no category of persons under the Constitution that matches this phrase, violence producer. Many might say violence producer is the economy or the politician or the situation of hardship or the slave master or whatever you might say is the root cause of violence. That's what is producing it. People are just actors within it, within a framework, and you still can only deal with them in a way that is specified in the covenant that allow you to even talk to me. You understand that if you're doing something on the road and a stranger come up and say, stop doing that, you can say to them, who are you? Why should I even? Don't talk to me. But if they flash a badge and say, I am a policeman, the covenant require you to treat with the policeman in a certain way. And the policeman is supposed to treat with you in a certain way.
Somebody on Twitter says, violence producer sound like a career.
Well,
and they were saying?
Yes, but separation of powers under our constitution, that is another one of the principles. And the Chief Justice was speaking in his character as the leader, the head person in the judicial arm. And he was saying to his judges, never mind what the other arm is saying over there, trying to set a narrative that might influence your thinking. And he was encouraging them in that vein, and quite rightly so. Let's open the lines, please. There is some speculation going. I was surprised, Pastor, although Pastor tell me that he is a man off the street. Even Pastor heard it. Citizens are concerned that there was a high-level security meeting in Washington, and our Minister of National Security was absent and wanting to know why. So perhaps that is a matter that our government, in its bid to be more transparent and accountable, would just say something to the citizens
clarify.
concerning what is happening with our Honorable Minister Chang. We have a caller on the line. Good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Good morning. Hey, Rusty.
No liars, man, for using the position to defend human rights in our court, all you care about is just the money.
Who you talking to now?
All I lie, them at Jamaica, me attack, not specifically.
Ah, okay. No, I agree with you. I agree with
For
you.
using the
Yes.
position to defend human rights and defend the people. State of emergency is illegal. And no liar not challenge it in the court.
Well, I think I think some lawyers are challenging it now, though, because the last announcement coming out of the PNP camp was that they're taking it to court.
We're not talking about PNP, man. Come on, but I put PNP in this, man. Where how PNP coming out to talk about?
Because Rusty, every case that goes to court need a claimant. It needs somebody who is asking the court to do something. Lawyers only go to represent the parties. So it starts with...
It's about money, defending money. Without money, they can't go challenge in high court.
So I want to ask you, which lawyer you asked to challenge it and they wouldn't go because you couldn't pay them? Is that an experience you're recounting?
None of them not doing it. If you offer them
No,
money,
but
they
we're
won't go.
asking you for your personal experience because you're speaking so strongly. It would seem as if you tried.
But human rights is not about me to go ask lawyer to do something.
But a human must ask. As you said, human rights, you need a claimant.
So lawyer is not human. Because it no affect them.
Yeah, but lawyers don't.
Right now, no affect them.
Lawyers don't go to court. Rusty, you have to be fair in your understanding of the thing. Lawyers don't go to court for themselves unless one of them is arrested or charged or caught up in it.
Yeah, but a country with lawyer defend human rights, man, without money, man.
I'm not talking about money. We're talking about a claimant. You said, what does the PNP have to do with it? The PNP is the claimant who would ask the lawyer to defend. You have to have a party before the court.
No flyer in other country go and defend human rights.
Yes, but they go for a client, Rusty. Work with me. They go for a client. If your human rights have been abused, you personally, and you go to an attorney and say, represent me, and they say not without money, then I could understand what you're saying. I believe that more lawyers should get involved.
None of them
like Rusty called for quarrel.
None of them not representing nobody without money.
That's not true. That's not true, Rusty.
No, but
not true.
Hold on, Rusty. What's the value of your contribution this morning? Because it sounds like you called to quarrel with the lawyers. What is the value of the contribution this morning?
You quarrel with all of them.
Quarrel with all of
You quarrel with them. Oh, all right.
They're not doing nothing for the people, nothing for the poor people of this country. Nothing. Lawyers not doing anything.
Rusty.
Yes.
You understand the point that Miss Minette trying to make?
Let me understand the point.
Yeah. The point is, in order for somebody to take up a case before the courts, you must have a claimant. So we are saying to you and suggesting to you, you feel very strongly about people's human rights being abused, violated and abused. And you feel that strongly. What you must go and test it now, test your point that you're making. Just go to a lawyer and says, I believe that my human rights are being violated. Will you take up the case? If you go to them, no, but have you done it? Have you
not in our country already. Look what I thought,
no,
people
but
go. None
I
of
am
them not doing
saying,
it.
All right, Rusty, we're in agreement that more attorneys should step up and do more. I have said that. I've called them out. And there are many answering the call. But you have to have persons willing to put their story on the line and go to the lawyer and say, I will do it. Do you know what I remember? I'm going to share this with you, Rusty.
Look how much people being dragged by state of emergency and dragged to the court, dragged in a jail right now. They are suffering in a jail. It's no liar. I'm going to go question them or ask them nothing.
Yes,
What them is inside
there are lawyers
jail.
doing it. There are lawyers doing it, just Rusty.
Thousands of them is inside the jail. They are suffering.
And every one of them have the right to legal aid counsel and to other counsel, and some of them, how you think we've got even some of the decisions that are there?
So because they don't have any money, they stay in there and suffering. But nobody is
all right, Rusty.
their human right.
You've made your point. Thank you very much. It is true that it is true that more need to step into it. We should be flooding the courts with it. I agree with you. But there are others doing good work in the area, and it starts with the citizens getting up.
Be a joke, I go on my country. Be a joke. Be a joke.
All right, Rusty.
All right, Rusty. We do have another call. You can't make the same point 10 times.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning, the people. Bless up on yourself.
Good morning, Franco.
Wow, you know you, man. I'm glad how you remember me. Bless up, Rusty. I feel your pain, bro, man. I feel understand, Rusty. You know, no feel offended.
Oh, no, we can't be offended by that.
Mr. Lawrence, no feel no way, Mr. Lawrence. But we under it, you know, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I understand it fully, my brother.
I know just know somehow we under it, you know, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
That's about before we born, after we born, after we dead and gone. Yo, trust me, yo. I feel some of my people's pain, yo. Anyway, me just want to heal up Mr. Miguel Lawn, you know. You don't feel good at me. I tell you, Mr. Miguel Lawn, you're one of my living warrior, you know, Mr. Miguel Lawn. Straight up, I wish you the best, Mr. Lawn. Yeah, I want to heal up me and Motley too.
Ah, yes. No, that is both persons are deserving of mention.
Yes, I want to heal up King Jong-un too.
Which king is this now?
Kim.
Oh. Okay. Oh, you're a guy from North Korea.
Yo, my warrior, not my guy, please. Not no guy, my warrior, Miss Lawrence.
All right, sir. You have freedom of belief and
my warrior,
conscience.
He's a warrior, man. Yo, why can't my peoples them take template from them peoples, them, man? I want to hear up Mr. Jerry Small too, you know, miss your teaching, no, Mr. Jerry Small. But Percy,
yes,
immortality. Have you ever heard that word before?
Which one?
Which one?
Immortality.
Immortality, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that word in the Bible?
Yes.
It is?
It is. In some translations, they refer to man losing his carnal body and taking on immortality. Losing the corruptible flesh and taking on the... Yes. So it is there.
That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do, yo.
All right, then.
Well, that is the next great adventure.
Yeah, for real, yo. For real, yo, so trust me, yo. Now, to tell no lie, I had like maybe 2-3 great years that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
But doing my 50-something years on this earth, man, oh my God, yo, when you talk about abuse, when you talk, oh my, if you hear some of my stories, yo, looking back over my whole life, sometimes it sick my stomach. Sometimes I wonder, Franco, how the heck you survive? How?
I want to ask you one question, Franco, if you would share. What would you say was the main cause of some of those struggles?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you. You broke off a second.
What would you say was the main cause of some of your struggles when you look back and you say you can only see 2 or 3 good years?
Well, the main cause is Esau and his gang.
So you're Jacob and Esau was tormenting Esau and his gang.
Esau and his nasty gang, yo, for real, yo. I know me alone go through, you know, just maybe I don't know who we know, but yeah, man. But anyway, we now complain, we give thanks still, so I got immortality.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Or immortality. Anyway, bless up on yourself. Bless up.
All right, Franco, thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, Mr. Minute and Mr. Percy, morning.
Yes.
Morning.
Okay, immortality.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, you know. What I want to say, especially your pastor, don't feel no way attorney, because your day will come.
All right, let me hear
that
this.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the argument and those things, you know, the information, right?
Go on,
not being a liar, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the information and legal matters. Probably you may can practice it in certain circles or certain quarters. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Go ahead, my brother.
Because there are some Jamaican who left here in the 60s and 70s. They just go to grammar school, you know. And when you go to Jamaica, when you are in Jamaica, they say you have to apply to file certain things.
Yes.
They go before the court, you know, and before any judge, you know, high court judge, and him say them their piece and go about them business, you know.
You know, there are very few things that you can't do yourself in the courts.
I know that.
Yes.
In terms of Jamaica still a whole back.
No.
You know.
That's Jamaica me I talk about.
Yeah, Jamaica hold back the masses.
You can file.
Before Professor Hazard didn't become ill. Him used to raise help on the youth, but I can't go and allow certain people to study law, certain number. Am I right about that, attorney?
I don't know of any restriction beyond seating capacity for the course.
Professor Hazard, when he was professor at UTEC,
yes,
used to raise help on the UWI. And some of our local black attorney who control the normal law school. I resist. So, you know, in Jamaica, the brother there, when you want me to talk about who to go back where?
Back to
black people, how long black people,
yes.
3/4 of the corruption in Jamaica, black people are stifle black people like the crab in the barrel, you know.
That is true, because we are in the majority. But what is it you wanted to ask, Percy?
Commissioner of Police now, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
His projection for the new year sound positive, upbeat, you know. Understandable coming from a head of a security force, right? But 4 weeks ago, at